Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday. After Apple, rival tech giant Google is planning to shift the assembly of 5 lakh to 1 million units of its Pixel smartphone brands to India as COVID-19 induced lockdowns continue to hit the pace of manufacturing in China. The news comes 3 weeks after the reports that Apple is planning to begin manufacturing of iPhone 14 in India by late October or November. Foxconn is looking at options after Beijing's clashes with Washington and lockdowns across the country disrupted production. India and other countries such as Mexico and Vietnam are becoming increasingly important to contract manufacturers supplying American brands as they try to diversify production away from China. The 139th report on cancer care plan and management, prevention, diagnosis, research and affordability of cancer treatment was submitted to the Rajya Sabha chairman on Monday, which recommended that the cancer be declared as a notifiable disease. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on the Health and Family Welfare made the recommendation citing several unreported deaths owing to the cancer in India. A notifiable disease is a disease that is required by law to be reported to the government authorities. The collation of information allows the authorities to monitor the disease and provides early warning of possible outbreaks. The committee expressed its deep displeasure over the National Cancer Registry Program (NCRP), which is working since 1982 through Population-Based Cancer Registry (PBCR) and Hospital-Based Cancer Registry (HPCR), but only 10% of Indian population is covered under PBCRs. The committee said that making a cancer a notified disease will surely ensure a robust database of cancer deaths and also help in determining the accurate incidence and prevalence of cancer in the country. It will also help in analyzing the risk factors, implementing screening programs, and allocating proper resources to improve cancer outcomes. The committee, headed by MP Ram Gopal Yadav, has recommended the creation of CoWIN-like portal for registration of real-time data collection, counseling, supportive resources for cancer care along with the interactive tool. Kazakhstan President Jurmat Tokayev have agreed to restore the name of the Kazakhstan capital from Nursultan to Astana. The city was renamed Nursultan 3 years ago by Tokayev to honor his predecessor Nursultan Nazarbayev after he stepped down in 2019. Tokayev's agreement to restore the name after an invitation by a group of MPs. A tripatriot peace agreement was signed between Centre, Assam government and 8 tribal groups of Assam in presence of Union Home Minister Amit Shah in New Delhi. The agreement was signed to end decade-old crisis of tribal groups and the tea garden workers in Assam. This agreement will prove to be another milestone in the direction of making Northeast region extremism-free by 2025. NLFT agreement in 2019, Brewring and Bodo Accord in 2020, Karbi Anaglong agreement in 2021 and Assam-Meghalaya interstate boundary agreement this year have resolved around 65% of the border disputes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached Uzbekistan's Samarkand to attend the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO summit, which deliberated on regional security challenges, boosting trade and energy supplies amongst other issues. The SCO is holding its first in-person summit in Samarkand after 2 years. The summit will also see the participation of Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Modi is also expected to hold bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the summit, including with Putin and Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, among other leaders. Chinese President Xi Jinping congratulated India for hosting the SCO summit next year and assured that Beijing will fully support New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while addressing the leaders at the 22nd summit of the Council of Heads of Shanghai Cooperation Organization members said that India is set to take an initiative for a new SCO working group on traditional medicines. He highlighted that WHO inaugurated its Global Center for Traditional Medicines in Gujarat in April 2022, and it was the first and the only global center by WHO for the traditional treatment. The rotational presidency of Shanghai Cooperation Organization has been handed over to India in Samarkand. at the termination of the SCO summit. Delhi will hold the presidency of grouping for a year until September 2023, and next year India will host the SCO summit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi released 8 cheetahs bought from Namibia at the Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh. This is happening after a long gap of 70 years. Cheetahs from Namibia are being introduced in India under Project Cheetah, which is world's first intercontinental large wild carnivore translocation project. The Prime Minister will release the cheetahs in 2 enclosures. 2 male cheetahs will be released in the first enclosure. A female cheetah will be released in the second enclosure. Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh has been found most suitable in India for the cheetah's reintroduction in India, out of the 10 selected places in the country. The area spread over 750 square kilometers of Kuno National Park is suitable for the habitat of about 24 cheetahs. The special chartered flight bringing 8 cheetahs from Namibia lands at the Indian Air Force Station in Gwalior, and subsequently cheetahs were set free by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Varanasi has been nominated as the first ever Shanghai Cooperation Organization tourism and cultural capital during the period of 2022 and 23 at the 22nd meeting of SCO Council of Head of States in Samarkand, Uzbekistan yesterday. External Affairs Ministry said the nomination of Varanasi as the first ever SCO tourism and cultural capital will promote tourism, cultural and humanitarian exchanges between India and the SCO member countries. It also underlined countries' ancient civilization links with member states of SCO, especially the Central Asian republics. Under the framework of this major cultural outreach program, a number of events will be hosted in Varanasi during 2022-23, for which guests will be invited to participate from the SCO member states. These events are expected to attract Indiologists, scholars, authors, musicians and artists, photojournalists and travel bloggers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the National Logistic Policy (NLP) in New Delhi today. The need for the national logistic policy was felt since the logistic cost in India is high as compared to the other developed economies. Reduced logistic cost improves efficiency cutting across various sectors of the economy, encouraging value addition and enterprise. National Logistic Policy is a comprehensive effort to address issues of high cost and inefficiency by laying down an overarching interdisciplinary, cross-sectoral and multi-jurisdictional framework for the development of the entire logistic system is yet another step in this direction. The Prime Minister Gati Shakti National Master Plan for Multimodal Connectivity launched by the Prime Minister last year was a pioneering step in this direction. Prime Minister Gati Shakti will get further boost and complementarity with the launch of National Logistic Policy. The United States Agency for International Development and UNICEF today launched the Doordarshan and YouTube series titled Dur Se Namaste at function held in New Delhi. Dur Se Namaste is a new television serial which promotes healthy behavior and in post-pandemic world. It is a fictional Hindi series developed in an entertainment education format highlighting the challenges of post-pandemic world and promotes the adoption of healthy behavior and practices. The program will be telecasted on every Sunday from 11 am to 12 noon. Prasar Bharati, Doordarshan and All India Radio are the major channels through which the Government of India reaches out to the people for spreading information regarding its policies and programs. Doordarshan has 25 channels and All India Radio has over 400 radio stations. During pandemic, Health Ministry and Ministry of Ayush came out with their protocols to deal with the pandemic, and fact check unit was also set up to dispel fake information. Union Home Minister Amit Shah today inaugurated the year-long celebrations of Hyderabad Liberation Day at Parade Grounds in Hyderabad. He hoisted the national flag and received a guard of honor from the paramilitary forces. Speaking on occasion, he said the first time Liberation Day is being held officially on the land of Telangana after 75 years. He also paid rich tributes to India's first Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel for deciding to launch police action against the Nizam's army and Razakars to make Hyderabad a part of India. Kyrgyzstan President Sadir Japarov and his Tajikistan counterpart Emomali Rakhmon agreed to order a ceasefire and troop pullback in a meeting on the sidelines of the SCO summit in Uzbekistan on Friday. The ceasefire comes following a deadly border conflict between the two Russian allies that escalated towards a war, involving tanks and RT rocket shelling. The former Soviet republics earlier accused each other of restarting fighting in a disputed area, which has left at least 3 dead and dozens wounded. Earlier on Friday, Moscow urged a cessation of hostilities. Kyrgyzstan said that the Tajik forces using tanks, armored personnel carriers, and mortar entered at least one Kyrgyz village and shelled the airport of the Kyrgyz town of Batken and adjacent areas. In turn, Tajikistan accused Kyrgyz forces of shelling an outpost and 7 villages with a heavy weaponry in the same area, which is famous for its jigsaw puzzle political and ethnic geography and has become the site of similar hostilities last year, also nearly leading to the war. The army leaders from 24 nations belonging to the Indo-Pacific region gathered in Dhaka for Indo-Pacific Armies Management Seminar, also called as IPAMS. IPAMS has given a message of unity and collective commitment. They also express concerns about the security and prosperity of the world's most consequential regions. The largest land force conferences in the Indo-Pacific region was inaugurated on September 12th by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh. It came to a close on Thursday with participants expressing optimism for continued peace and stability in the region. The IPAMS was hosted between September 12th to 15th by Bangladesh this year. The theme of this year's conference was prospects and challenges in maintaining peace and security in the Indo-Pacific. The 46th IPAMS held 3 plenary sessions focusing on robust peacekeeping, women empowerment, and land power in regional cooperation with distinguished guests speaking and discussions on challenges and ways forward. Delegates from various armies participated in plenary session, working groups, team building, and conducted live discussions to work together, form relationships, and think out of the box to solve the common issues of this vast and unique region. The 47th iteration of IPAMS will take place in India, where it will share the stage with biannual Indo-Pacific Army Chiefs Conference. And now for the segment where we see the events that unfolded this week back in history. September 10, 2008. Acceleration begins at Large Hadron Collider. On this day, 14 years ago, the Large Hadron Collider was powered up at the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CREN, the largest machine in the world. LHC is a 27-long atom smasher built at the France-Swiss border by thousands of scientists and engineers over decades. Operating at the boundaries of the science, the Big Bang machine is most audacious scientific experiment ever undertaken to know where we come from. It is powered by Albert Einstein's famous equation E is equal to mc square. September 11, 1965. Bashar al-Assad is born. On this day, 57 years ago, Syria's dictator Bashar al-Assad was born. In spite of early hopes that his presidency, unlike his father's, would usher in an era of democratic reforms in Syria, he largely continued his father's authoritarian methods. Since 2011, Assad has been facing a major uprising in Syria, and that has left thousands dead and millions displaced. No one expected him to have the survivor gene, and yet Assad still sits in the place in Damascus. September 12, 1990, 2+4 agreement to reunify Germany is signed. On this day, 32 years ago, the 2+4 agreement was signed nearly a year after the fall of the Berlin Wall. It was negotiated between the Federal Republic of Germany and the German Democratic Republic, the two, and the 4 powers which occupied Germany at the end of World War II: France, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Germany now stood reunified and ready to play a leading role in the European Union. September 14, 1960, OPEC is founded. On this day, 62 years ago, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, was founded by Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. It was an attempt by oil-producing states to assert themselves in the market, dominated by major multinational oil companies. As the world oil marketing tightened, OPEC became more vocal in calling for the use of oil weapons to achieve its economic and political objectives. However, its relevance stands diminished today. September 15th, 1861, M. Vishweshwaraya is born. On this day, 161 years ago, Sir M. Vishweshwaraya was born. He was the chief engineer responsible for the construction of the Krishnarajasagara Dam in Mysuru, the biggest in Asia at that time. A Bharat Ratna awardee, he was an engineering pioneer whose genius reflected in the buildings and consolidations of dam across the country. Industrialize or perish was his mantra for India. September 15th is also celebrated as an Engineer's Day in his honor.
Well, that's all friends for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.